So we are on cycle 23, according to the load screen. I get the feeling I'm going to actually want to play this game again, which is not a feeling I get very frequently for this type. Okay, so we have a little bit of cash. I keep thinking that right click is going to be scroll out. Let's grab one of these since it's the last time this guy's still going to be here. So engineer actions, if we get a chance to do the structural fittings. We can grab those, find out how much that actually self-repairs. Okay, I mean, I would have preferred to put a 4 in there, but I guess a 6 will work. Okay, so we did not end up getting one, but see, nope, still didn't. Where is it? The Express. That actually covers everything I really wanted out of that. You know, fuck it. Still a 75% chance of... Man. Apparently that is not a great odds on the, scrap. Okay, so I'm only going to want to use one of these on that. Just this one. No, that's not what I want. I wanted to hit a Minji Express. Let's check what our things are real quick. Okay, so this is the sidereal ticket. We do need to figure out... Well, we need to get 160 fucking money. Yeah, good enough. So we still want to hit up the Yataghan agents when we can. Because we do need to get those for Sabine. We're actually doing surprisingly okay. Obviously I'd be a lot happier if we could get a decent amount of that scrap, but for whatever reason, or just not. Each shift a crowd of would-be workers gathers outside the shipyard, each of them clinging to a 4-digit number printed on receipt paper. These are their assignment numbers, and you're either called for a shift, or you aren't. As you arrive, the crowd is restless, and chatter rumbles through the lines. For those who, like you, have graduated the work teams, shifts are guaranteed. Having just walked out of a meeting with a supervisor where you were praised for your efforts, Feel the glow of a job well done. You can't help but feel empathy for those huddled as you pass, waiting for their number to come up. You keep your head down as you leave the shipyard, feeling a little guilty as you do. Hey, Sleeper, wait up. Lem's voice trembles as he shouts above the rumble of the crowd, and you turn to see him pushing through, Mina crying in his arms. Lem! Good to see you, friend. He's breathing hard after shouldering through the waiting workers. You made the work team. Good for you. Tries to catch his breath, stroking Mina's hair as he does. Shh, baby, give me a second here. He smiles weakly at you as he comforts her, and her cries start to fade. Out of the crowd, he sets Mina down by his side, shiny streaks down both her cheeks. As he does, you see he's clutching a assignment number on a crumpled piece of paper. Mina okay? She's good. We just had to rush up here. He puts his hand on her shoulder and she clings to his side. Esther, who usually takes her, is sick. He stretches, I don't know what. A noise sounds from the entrance, a klaxon, followed by a list of numbers growing brightly on a display screen. The crowd responds instantly, pushing and pulling as people try to wade to the entry checkpoint. Lem stops and turns back toward the crowd and glances down at the crumpled paper. That's my number. Shit, Amina. He starts patting the pockets on his gear and glancing around. Go, I'll watch her. He blinks a little, staring. Thank you, all. He crouches to Mina. You're gonna stay with her friend here, okay? They're gonna keep you safe, and here, take her bag. He shoves it in your hand. She's got food, shit, I have to go. He backs away into the crowd. Mina, I'll be back real soon, okay? Be good. Then Lem disappears into the roiling crowd, who are now trying to get into the shipyard before it locks down. Mina stands staring, suddenly small without Lem at her side. She fixes you with a dark-eyed look you can't quite read. Hey, Mina. She holds the stare, unmoving. The two parallel tear tracks still glint on her cheeks. You okay, Mina? She sniffs and looks down. Look in the bag. You unlatch the top of the bag, see a few metal containers fashioned from scrap components. Battered slate sits on top, blinking a low battery warning. And tucked beside it is a ragged rabbit, hand-sewn. Take the rabbit. Pull the rabbit out of the bag, its long limbs waggling as you do. Mina goes to jump and grab it, but holds herself back. She stands and hugs herself, eyes on the rabbit. Give her the rabbit. Pull the rabbit out. And Mina snatches it from your hand. She hugs it tightly without looking away from you. Bun Bun, she says, staring you down, ferocious despite her size. Nice name. You move a little closer as you speak, closing the gap. She looks at you suspiciously, but her face softens a little. She waggles Bun Bun in front of you, and then walks him up your arm and onto your shoulder where he sits. She pokes your arm a couple times. Are you really a robot? Not really. She thinks. Me too. Mina has more questions. Lots of questions. Questions about how you breathe, if you rust. Before long, you're talking about rabbits. What Esther, the lady who usually takes her, smells like. And whether or not fairies live in the eye's heating pipes. You pass the time like this, sitting side by side on the floor of the walkway as others pass by. Sometimes talking, sometimes drawing on the slate, sometimes playing with Bun Bun the rabbit. And this is how Lem finds you, just as both of you are starting to yawn. He's dirty and tired, but Mina leaps up his legs and into his arms as he stumbles backwards. You two get on okay? He asks, trying to keep Mina from climbing onto his shoulders. More than okay. Mina shoots you a smile from Lem's arms, her suspicions gone. Well, looks like Meanie can be nice. Pokes her in the ribs and she squeals in delight. Thank you, friend. I mean it. He gives you a warm, wide smile. I owe you. Look, he glances around. Seems like Esther, the lady who usually watches her, is going to be out for a spell. You ever have some time, I'd really appreciate you coming down to our place in Low End. He grins sheepishly. If you have time. But now I have to take this one to eat. He plays at biting Mina, and she giggles in response. See you, Sleeper. He waves, and they stumble off down the corridor, drawing gazes from passing spacers as Mina's laughter echoes down the corridor in bright squeals. So that is definitely one that we are going to, that is far more important than any fucking thing with this. A Haven Age agent. I thought we stole all the data from them already. And that, mon frere, should be enough for Sabine. I still don't know, actually, if, what I was going to say there is I don't know if when we first go starving, if we lose double. If we do, then we're not in a great state right now either way, but I think, as such, as I don't know, we're going to find out. I'm not going to grab food, I'm not going to grab or use the stabilizer. Okay. So, this is important. We'll want to use good, well, at least decent drops on that. I don't remember what that's supposed to be for. Remember this. This. Oh, for some reason I was thinking this required 5. Maybe whatever it is that needs Haven Age data needs 5? I don't know. As you turn away from the terminal, the final cache of Yadigan data uploaded. The air crackles with white noise. Sleeper? Sabine's voice, weaker than before, comes through the haze. Sabine? Sigh relief comes through the layers of noise. Call must be coming in from somewhere on the station. It has to be short. I don't know if Yadigan are monitoring me. The voice is hushed, distant. You try to focus on it. The data you've been bringing in from Yadigan agents, there's something in it I don't understand. Shrill howl rattles through the signal. This data is all gleaned from their implants, records of integration with their nervous systems, performance analysis, error rates, usage data. I installed many of these implants, and I didn't enable any of this functionality. Their voice dips under the level of the noise like a swimmer slipping beneath the water. You listen to the waves for a few seconds before Sabine re-emerges. It has to be somehow baked into their Wetwares interface, and that's not all. The systems compiling this data, they're connected to some kind of transmission protocol. It's all being broadcast. Wait, why? Every Yadigan enforcer is equipped with black market implants, retinal enhancements, adrenaline boosters, pain suppressors. These implants are gathering data on themselves, on the enforcer's body, on their performance. Why? I can't tell. Excuse me. But I can promise you these foot soldiers have no idea this is going on. The background tone switches, dropping to a grainy rumble. If they knew, I don't imagine they'd be happy with the situation. Yadigan could have a mutiny on their hands. You lean towards the terminal, straining to listen to Sabine's faint voice. I need a few cycles to pull this all together, but this might be the information I need to pressure Yannick into releasing my debt. Yannick? He's one of the heads of Yadigan. They pause. It's better if you don't know him. Keep it that way. Suddenly a banging echoes through the call. Sabine's voice is suddenly whispered, panicked. I have to go. Come back in 4 cycles. And the sharp crack of a disconnect, and silence fills the apartment. You step back from the terminal. What does Yadigan have to gain from monitoring its own members? You try to recall what you know about the gang, but you have little to go on. You think of Toshiro, Sabine's minder. His mirrored teardrop implants set below hard eyes. What data could they be gathering? And more importantly, where are they sending it? Well, I mean, I can think of some less suspicious goals there, where they're trying to make sure everybody's staying, you know, healthy, etc. That the things are being properly upkeeped and so on and so forth. Realistically, they're trying to make sure that nobody's going to betray them. You reflexively rub your forehead, trying to think, can you really trust Sabine? How did they come to be Yadigan's doctor in the first place? You think of their kindness, their care, but also that glazed look of recognition that they gave you when they first met you. That look stays in your mind as you slip back out of the apartment, glancing around as you close it up and drift into the corridors of the station, unable to shake the unpleasant sensation of being observed. Okay, well, we have done that. We are good there. We need to get some fucking scrap so I can figure out how much that heals. We are going to be starving at the start of this next cycle. Okay, so we don't immediately drop doubles, nor does it immediately... Okay, that is good to know. You miss me? Ethan smiles a ragged smile at you. Nope. You look at him. He's paler than usual, hunched. Sporting a black eye and more than a few cycles of beard growth. That's no way to greet an old friend. Friend? Well, he pauses. Colleague? He smiles weakly. This is big, really big stuff, about you. He seems more jittery than usual, on edge. Remember how SNR canceled that contract on you? Contract I was going to collect? I remember. I'm guessing you were pretty happy about that shit. Overjoyed? Me? I lost everything. Let's not worry about that, he smiles sarcastically. So what did you think? That was it? I was glad to be done with you. Oh, the feeling was mutual. Except, Ethan pauses a dramatic pause. What if old SNR gave that bounty to someone else? Someone who is even more of a shithead than yours truly? Well, they'd really be looking. He smiles darkly. What a disaster that would be. Oh, well that's the question, isn't it? Ethan fishes around in his pocket for a slip of paper. I've been speaking to some friends, you see, some colleagues about what went down, and it turns out SNR canceled all of their bounty contracts. The whole lot. It seems they brought someone in-house. Some guy who did so well on their last contract that they got offered a job. He leans in. Apparently he made a hit on this ship called Winter Wonderland. Or something. The smuggling sleepers out from under SNR's big corporate nose. He killed the crew and blew the ship. Ethan whistles. They called him Hemwick or Maywick or something. He gives up looking for the paper. I forget. You mean Winterlight? That's it. He looks at you hard. So you do know all about this, and you'll be very happy to hear what I'm about to offer you. Ethan runs his hands through his greasy hair. Given this new information I brought to light, seems like you are in need of protection. I mean, I, meanwhile, am in need of assistance in kind. Turns out I upset some people at the compressor last time they were there. The owners, and they say they'll space me unless I work off the debt. Seems that they are that kind of businessmen. I would pay them, but... He shrugs and turns his jacket pockets inside out in a mime of poverty. He looks pitiful, even more so for his clownish acting. Then work it off. You should be glad, the anger rising on him now, that I came here and told you this. You think anyone is looking out for you? You're a contract. Name on a list. He kicks the wall. Then rubs his temples. I'm sorry, he hisses. I'm sorry for being a shit and trying to kill you and whacking that thick skull of yours, he says. Sighs. You think I want to go up against this guy? But us. He jabs a finger between the two of you. We don't have the choice, so you keep me from getting killed, and I'll do the same for you. We can help each other. A straight 50-50 deal. I'm not asking for a favor. I'll think about it. Ethan nods. I'm at the compressor. Every cycle. Working. Just think about Maywick. Think about that cold-eyed SNR shit on his way here from the core systems. That should give you the motivation you need. Ethan swaggers off down the corridor, throwing his jacket over his shoulder. Can't wait to be working with you. Well, shit. God, we have a lot of fucking, options here. So, first things first. Since I don't appear to... Oh. Yeah. Oh, and we're no longer in danger of losing... Oh. Oh, fuck. I was just intending to... That gives us enough for the ship mine. That's enough for the amber. So what I was planning... Yeah, that's actually quite a few cycles. Okay, that's one. That's only worth it if we are... not paying for them. I mean, it's worth it if we're not, but... Don't get me wrong, but... Okay, so we have two. No, we have one. For whatever reason, my brain saw this and went, we have two! Because, you know, I'm a giant dumbass. I think what I'm going to grab is that instant karma. Much as I like some of the other things, I think that the instant karma is just orders of magnitude better than anything else available to me right now. You drop in the ship mine core onto the galley table with an emphatic bang. Nikita spins around from where she's been poring over some documents on her slate. Holy shit, Sleeper. Did you actually land a ship mine? She rushes over and hefts the huge cylinder, turning it back and forth. Shit! It might actually work. She smiles wider than you've ever seen. Where did you get it? Well, I built it. Built it? Well, well. You are full of surprises. Nikita bangs on the galley wall. Hear that, Amber? The Sleeper got you a new ship mine. Sound echoes down the ship's passages. You have to admit, being in a small space with Nikita when she's this excited is a little intimidating. Nikita puts the ship mine back on the table. You know, I bet that's a real name, and I bet that I'm mispronouncing it. I'm not going to change how I'm pronouncing it, but I bet that I'm mispronouncing it. I'll start the process of fitting it in as soon as I can. I might need your help with some of it. She heads back towards the counter to grab her slate. This isn't the only good news today either. Looks like my good karma is finally coming in. She throws a slate onto the table and spins it so you can see the screen. Take a look at this. You see a list of names and numbers, nothing that exciting. Along with what looks like a transit table. I found them. The thieves? Exactly. Well, the thief, singular. She points to a name on the list. More specifically, Ashton Cade. It was his pass that was used to access Amber and slice the ship mine. I thought he might have been killed or robbed, his pass stolen, but it turns out he crossed the Founder's Gap the very next cycle. How do you know? I know some of the crew over at the ferry, old mercs, used to run an outfit I worked with. Saw them in the Overlook, and they mentioned they saw Ashton crossing. I checked the manifests, and there he was. Looks suspicious. He hasn't said a word since the theft. Anyone wanting to hide out might head to the Greenway and go to the ground. She flexes. He won't get far, though. There's no real docks out there. Only a couple jetties in the waste. Going after him? Not yet. First I want to fit the ship mine, but maybe you could help me out. Okay, how? It's like this. I head over there, especially in Amber. He'll spot me a mile off and go underground. Find a way to slip the station, or he'll bury himself so deep in waste no one will ever find him. But you, Ashton doesn't know you. All I need is for you to go there and sniff around. Not the communes, not the stacks. They'll have gone to the edges, the margins, the wild places. That's what Ashen likes. You see him, you locate him, ping me on this. She hands you a comm earpiece. Seeing as this is merc work, I'll be happy to give you merc pay. Thing is, I haven't got much left. So how about I tell the boys who run the ferry to give you a discount? I know it's not much, but once I grab this coward, I'll pay up. 200 cryo, nothing less. Well, both of those are very useful. 200 cryo is huge, all on its own. That's 2 shots of stabilizer. If the fucking path across is less than 150 cryo, that could be a lot. That could be very useful. She lifts the ship mind up onto her shoulder with worrying ease. I'm gonna get this fitted in Amber's core. You get any info? Any sense of where Ashen's hiding? Let me know. She goes to turn and then stops. And once again, Sleeper, thank you. I appreciate it. Nikita stomps off into the guts of Amber with the ship mind, leaving you in the galley. You glance around, a sudden nervous energy descending at what is to come. You never thought you'd get work as a mercenary. Then again, seems the eye is full of surprises. Okay, so I guess at this point it becomes which of our drives is probably going to have the easiest access to you know, it seems likely, very likely in fact, that ones are still entirely safe to throw in there. Oh yeah. 50 cheaper. Not bad. I think I'm gonna... Yeah, we're okay on food. I'm gonna throw this into here. It is not, strictly speaking, my best... Wait. Yeah, okay, it's dangerous. So it probably will cost energy or condition if we fuck up. It is not, strictly speaking, our most efficient... moneymaker, but I think on average it's our strongest option. So we don't have anything we can do at the Overlook Bar right now. Oh yeah, hardened stuff. So I'm going to use the 3 and the 4 here. Thankfully, the +1 interface is actually very useful. We do still need to get into the Greenway to actually use said Greenway cipher. The thing going back and forth really Oops, that's not the... That is the Timbre Tea House, but that's not where we wanted to go. As you walk into Timbre, you quickly spot Feng, arguing with Jenna. Come up behind Feng, he turns and notices you. Jenna stops mid-tirade as you arrive. She turns to you. You again. You here to vouch for this layabout? Damn. She laughs. Well, and what are you two up to? Feng winks at you and interjects. It's like I told you, Jenna. Helping them out, getting them settled, sorting their life out. They're sleeper, you know what that means. Jenna softens, she looks a little embarrassed. Of course I know. She stops to think. Look, Feng, I get it. You're trying to help. But if you want to keep this job, you're going to need to be a bit more reliable. Feng nods solemnly. It will not happen again, Jenna. I promise. She looks suspiciously between the two of you. Okay, then. She turns to you. And look, I didn't mean to... Just be cool, alright? She turns and walks back to the bar. Well, didn't know you'd stand up for me, sleeper. Feng claps you on the back. Appreciate the solidarity. Takes out his slate, pulsing with pale light. Now let's take a look at what you're really here for. Slate's a whirling mess of code streams coming direct from the Ripper worms as they dig through the agent's data, spin it into threads for the slate to pick up. Anything good? Feng scrolls the display with a finger. A lot of junk, a lot of dull as hell message threads, a lot of tedious data caches, but Feng's eyes flash. Definitely some good stuff. He stops the screen scrolling on an entry and expands it. Check this out. Feng shows you the screen. You see a bold corporate logo, not Solheim's, and a word below. Conway, Feng says. He's working with Conway. Conway Extractions, right? Feng nods. He's been speaking with him, personally. Got a whole chain of messages here. But it's mostly encrypted or redacted. He rubs his head. Damn it, this is juicy. But we can't nail him with it. Scroll some more. Wait. What's this? A wasteland reclamation facility? Right here on the eye. He glances at you. What's the bet this place is tucked into the wastes? The wastes? Hey, it's a section of the eye Erlen couldn't reclaim. It was too damaged, too cut off. Back before the collapse, people would have gotten there by going down the connected spoke from the hub. That spoke's broken now, so the only way is the long way, around the rim past the greenway. Shows you on the slate. Feng looks away, thinking, Conway could have been making moves on this system since the collapse. Heard they took over one of Solheim's old belt colonies a while ago, moved everyone out, and reclaimed the whole rock. Why work with Hardin? Access? Old connections? Not sure. Feng looks back at the screen. But if Hardin's involved in it, then we need to check it out. Simple as that. So, what's next? I'm trying to get a fucking... Tums out. Feng stares out into the middle distance. We have to get to that facility. The answer to whatever Hardin's been planning, has to be there. And we're going to catch him in the act. Give me 5, maybe 6 cycles, and we'll see on the greenway. I seem to remember there's some old service docks on the outer shell up by the Haifa building. Should be a good place to meet. Feng squeezes your shoulder. Thanks again, Sleeper, for sticking with this. Haven't forgotten about that track of yours either. I'm going to need to be back in my bay to pull a solution together. He turns the slate around to face you, showing a massive scrolling code. I've been working on a fix in my brakes. He winks. Feng grins widely. Now I gotta go ask for some time off from Jenna. Wish me luck. He waves as he walks back to the bar, where Jenna's standing, a look of deep exhaustion in her eyes. Excellent. So we use up our good dice on things that are useful and such. We still haven't gotten a fucking efficient extractor. What's this? I mean, we have some Yadigan data. We'll hold off, it's not hugely important. 4, that's really a 5 on most actions. We hit this up with it. Either +1 or +2. And we can get somewhere. Yeah, I was gonna spend that on, shit. The problem here is emphasis stuff is 15. Fuck it. This will keep me going another day at 4. Another cycle, I guess. Oh, that actually comes across the mic real loud. Okay, so with 2 6s and a 5, let's first flick this. So, compressor, what do we need? How much do we need? Well, this is trash because regardless of what we do, it's just +1. I wish we could pay this off in money, but apparently that's not an option. Actually, since we have these, Timber Tea House is gonna be our best option. I think these are 10 apiece. That'll let us get stabilizer. And we can still get a bit of work on this done. I had decent odds of getting a positive positive response out of it. Okay, so Sabine. 4 cycles, Sabine said, and here you are, right on time. With no sign of them. You wait a while in the apartment, the dread descending as the cycle spins onward. They should be here. You check and double the terminal for messages or recordings. Nothing. Just the pale glow and the silence. Pace back and forth around the apartment. Rumbling of the station suddenly so present and loud. You go to the door and open it to an empty corridor. You close it again. Try to settle down. To wait, you sit on the bunk and stare out of the tiny room. Where the hell are they? Knock at the door. Figure stands in the door and immediately you know it's not Sabine. They're taller, sharper, Something in her face glistens in the half-light. A dark shape like a stubby baton hangs loosely from her hand. Our local sleeper. Good to finally meet you. She steps into the apartment, glancing around with sharp eyes. What, may I ask, are you doing here? She fixes you with a steady, unwavering stare. Waiting for a friend. Of course, a mutual friend of ours, the good doctor. She walks past you into the apartment, glancing around. We set them up here, you know? This place is one of ours. She picks up a glass from the dispenser and inspects it. People always seem to forget who put them where they are. I suppose you're here to help? Something like that. Good, good. She puts the glass down and turns to face you. I love to meet helpers. We need so many, but can find so few with the right skills. She spins the baton in her fingers by your side. Her eyes not leaving yours. We have a problem, you and I. It seems our friend has disappeared. Left without even saying goodbye, which means that they are in a little trouble right now. But it's the kind of trouble that you need help for. So I thought I'd come down here and take a look at their little hidey hole. Here you are. The help. She looks through the detritus on the side. And what help? A sleeper, no less. Which I have to admit is a little surprising. It's just to me that our friend hasn't been very honest with you either. What do you mean? Well, I'm sorry to report that before we got them set up here, Sabine was working for your owners, Essenarp. You blink hard at the news, unsure how to take it. Rabia looks away, waiting for a response. She crosses into the next room and you follow silently. She sits in the terminal, touches her baton to one of the access ports. A spark, then the terminal screen skips, encrypted folders emptying themselves before your eyes. In the flicker of files you see Essenarp's letterheads and code forms, reports laden with medical data marked with a corporate logo like the sigil of some cult. Rabia steps away from the terminal. Look all you want. Some of your files may even be there. The volume of documents is overwhelming, but they seem to be mostly reports on early emulation tests, surveys with sleeper candidates, reams and reams of usage data. If Sabine was an Essenarp employee, why did they help you? Rabia reaches over and places a vial of stabilizer on the desk, breaking your concentration. It shimmers in the screen light. It's viscous, clear, liquid crystalline within the glass. We will, of course, keep up the supply. We are more than able to dispense important medicines, even without the doctor. You hold it between your finger, and for a tiny moment you have the urge to crush the object. The power it has over you. I'll ask Shiro to make those a little cheaper for you. He'll be running the surgery now. Rabia closes up the briefcase lab and holds it at her side. We have to retrieve our assets, of course, but I'm sure you understand. Rabia turns on her way out. There's no reason for us to be enemies, Sleeper. Come see me. I keep an office nearby. We have good work to do, you and I. Meet me there in a few cycles. She slips out silently into the corridor. You look around the apartment and feel the fear drain out of your body to reveal the tiredness beneath. Well, first and foremost, it being 80 is a fair bit cheaper. Ah, this was the 5. But I don't really have need for a ship mind anymore. Interestingly. Good enough. Still provides me money. Oh yeah, Lemon Mina. Well, let's re-roll them first. Not great. Hell, if I'd realized this gives you energy, I'd have fucking just done it. It says upgrades, but it's just the one. I mean, this one wouldn't be terrible, but... we'll see. I guess it doesn't always give you energy. She's asleep, whispers Lem, creeping back out of the unit's tiny bedroom, sliding the door shut as he does. You're perched at the thin bar in the main room, slate in front of you still glowing with Mina and your drawings from a cycle spent together. There's a ring, the only world Mina has known, with stick figure standing along its edge. The tall one is you. Drink? Asks Lem, producing one-looking bottle of Jarl from under the bar, its contents glowing amber in the fluorescent light. No thanks. Let me pour it at least. If you don't want it, I'll drink it later. He laughs and glugs a few fingers into the couple metal tumblers, then sits down with you at the bar. Cheers, he offers, and you clink the metal containers together. You know, we actually have something to celebrate this time around. Lem gives you a sideways look. I made the assembly team on Sidereal. He grins broadly. Clearly he has been desperate to tell you all cycle. Knew it. Lem holds up his drink. You did get there first, friend. I'll give you that. He looks away. Seriously, though, couldn't have done it without you keeping an eye on little Meanie back here. Lem shifts a little on his stool. He looks uncomfortable. How's our girl doing, Sleeper? Haven't seen much of her these past cycles. She misses her father. Lem looks away. Yeah, he says to no one in particular. Silence stretches out as Lem takes a drink, his eyes fixed on the bedroom door. You okay? He nods. I can't take all the credit for Mina. She isn't actually mine. He gazes into the middle distance. I pulled her off of a refugee shuttle out by one of the Ember's moons. The colony was falling apart for decades after Solheim collapsed, surviving on next to nothing. Eventually some of the residents tried to make it for the Eye. On these decrepit old shuttles, he sloshes the drink around his tumbler. They had no idea what they were doing. The one Mina was on decompressed halfway here. Everyone's spaced. The only reason she made it was someone sealed her in a weapon locker. She was ice cold when I reached her. Purple lips. He shivers. Once I picked her up, I wouldn't let go. The medics treated her with me still clinging to her. He takes a drink, still not sure why. He reaches over and refills his cup. We weren't exactly anybody's hero, you know. We were private military, hired in by Conway to protect her claims in the collapse. Once I got Mina, that was it. I quit. Got us dumped here. You saved her. I'm gonna sound like an idiot now, but... He sighs. She saved me. That's the truth of it. He looks around the decaying unit, its stained plastic plating and flickering lights. Me? I brought her to this. She was tiny, too small to know what she lost, but I can't stop thinking about it. He rubs his eyes dark with tiredness. What if our number doesn't come up in the draw, Sleeper? What then? The Sidereal will sail off without a thought, leaving us here. What kind of life is that for her? You'll make it. Sorry, I know you don't have it any better. He looks at his cup and pushes it away down in the bar. This is a celebration, right? Both of us on the team now. Both of us with a chance. Exactly. Imagine all three of us riding the Sidereal horizon out of here to a new world. Looks into his glass for a moment. I think I drank this too fast. He laughs. Lem stands and starts to clear the glasses into the auto wash. I need some sleep, friend. See you around. Alright then. He catches your shoulder as you turn to leave. Thank you, Sleeper. I mean it. From both of us. He pats your shoulder. You slip out into the dark of the walkway. Thoughts a little Mina on your mind. Well, I could guarantee that. I think ultimately having +1 on everything is probably going to be worth it anyway. And that clears that. They're never going to release my debt, the shits. Ethan kicks at a locker. The sound rattles loudly around the room. Ethan paces around the small room, swearing to himself. You watch him from the locker room bench. Why not? Why not? He spits on the floor, an old habit. They like having sniveling little shits like us to work their club. Saves on the other overheads and they get to boss us around. He kicks the locker again and swears. What'd they say? Some shit about getting back to me. I swear to God, these are the most straight-edge gangsters I've ever seen. He laughs his own joke. I can't do it. I can't spend another shift stopping spacers bringing nail guns into the club, pouring endless shots of Carol for ignorant Haven Age work crews. Fix the locker again, threatening with a final kick. I mean it. I'm gonna go up there and shoot every single one of those shits. He makes a finger gun. Hold on, don't get all excited. I haven't got my gun, remember? He stops facing. You know, Sleeper, that's not a bad idea you have there. I didn't have an idea. He ignores you. I mean shooting up the place. I mean getting the gun. He sits beside you on the bench. Think about it. What am I supposed to do when Maywick gets here? Shot him down? I need that gun if you want me to keep up my end of the deal. It's simple. Explosive personality for a distraction at the front. He places a hand on his own chest, a sneaky Sleeper to go in the back. He pats your chest. What about the debt? We've done our time, and the wounds, they've faded. If they don't notice us take the gun, they'll never know it's gone. Plus, he stands up. After my distraction, they'll be happy to see the back of me. Or they'll want you dead even more. Either works, at least. I'll never have to see the inside of this shithole again. Gives the locker one last kick. For good luck. Let me know when you want to do this. Then we both move as one and meet in the Bright Market after. But don't take that too long, or I really will shoot this place up. You know I'll do it. Interesting. So we're going to want to have something that guarantees success on that. As you approach the address Rabiah gave you, a heavy hand falls on your shoulder. What's your business here? The enforcer grips your shoulder, giving you a hint of the strength her implants give her. As you turn, you see the same subsidiary eyes as Rabiah and Toshiro, glinting like mirrors on her cheeks. Gia, please. A Sleeper is here by my invitation. At Rabiah's command, the hand immediately loosens, and an apologetic look replaces the scowl on Gia's face. Of course, Rabiah. I'm sorry. Rabiah waves you away. Don't you worry. I appreciate your protective instincts. She smiles at the enforcer. How about you head to the Tambor? They have a delivery coming and they'll need some help with the lifting. Gia nods and walks away. So Sleeper. Came. I'm glad. I was curious. Curious is good, she smiles a tight smile. You have to understand, finding you there in Sabine's unit, I wasn't sure where we stood. And more than a few people on the station who would rather I was dead, had to be sure you weren't one of them. I wish you no harm. I'm glad. Rabiah begins walking and gestures for you to walk with her. She takes you down a staircase into the bustling walkways at the low end. What do you know about Yatagan? You run the low end. She laughs. That sounds impressive. We run out of the low end, yes, but we don't run it. People with carts push past, moving crates of supplies around thin and winding passages. Our reputation is one that implies threat. Is that fair to say? were framed as aggressors, parasites, criminals. She gestures around at the people in the passageway. But when was the last time you saw a lawmaker on the eye? A policeman? Who makes the laws here? Well, Haven Age, really. Yes, they like to believe so, don't they? By claiming a lineage that extends back into Erland's Union. They assume the burden of authority. But they have no authority here, out past the Bright Market, where few work in their shipyard or pay for their docking berths. If you'd spent your time in the Low End, maybe your opinion of us would be different. This is our place, our people. The Low End was empty in Erland's time. They didn't need to house thousands, and keeping the yards and the rotunda safe was work enough. No, the Low End was reclaimed later, when the refugees started arriving. Rubaia meets your eye. Collapse didn't just happen here, on this station. When Solheim collapsed, the entire system felt it. Colonies were abandoned, the moons of Ember and Cinder suddenly gained independence overnight. Some took advantage, some tried to hold it together, and some fled. The Eye became a refuge, and Erland, to his credit, extended an open hand to everyone. But many within his organization disagreed, and those new arrivals weren't as simple to corral as they hoped. Rubaia leads you through a small market hall, busy with small stalls and traders. Erland's union was made of workers, administrators, people who were malleable and had already organized into hierarchies and networks. The refugees came from different factions, and families were scared, injured, and desperate. Conflict was inevitable. Yatagan's a child of that conflict, a child born out of the need for us to stand up and claim our future, to provide security and strength. People call us a gang, but we're a community. I take my position as lieutenant seriously, and from my birth I've worked to earn it. Rubaia catches herself before she raises her voice any further. You both walk in silence for a while, among the smells and textures of the Low End. Start to wonder if this place could be a home for you. Where do I come into this? Rubaia smiles to herself and thinks for a moment before she responds. I believe that you understand the importance of a refuge, so I also believe that you wish to help keep this place safe. For this reason, I would like to help you to trust me. I don't know what Sabine told you about us, but I imagine it was not good. I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. I was never comfortable with having Sabine as part of Yatagan. An ex-corporate employee, it goes against our nature. But their deal was with Yannick. I kept my distance, made sure Sabine had their surgery, kept it supplied, and that was all. But I can't allow people to go back on the promises they've made to us. Yatagan has not lasted this long because it's a charity. We will offer and ask for support. Any betrayal will be treated as intact. Who's Yannick? Yannick is one of the heads of Yatagan. They guide us. He is the newest to be elected. He is an elder. Sabine found something, please. I don't want to hear their accusations. They only wanted to escape their debt. They would have said anything. But where are they now to stand behind their claims? I'll find them. As will we. You realize that Rubaia has led you in a loop. Together you both come back up a staircase to a walkway where you met. You're free to go, Sleeper. I've said what I wish to say. She looks out through the windows of the walkway. I would protect this place with my life, as it has protected me. I want to make that clear. She turns back. However, if you too wish to come under its protection, I can help you. Return here if you wish, and there will be tasks for you to complete. You'll be able to see Yatagan, to see the Low End, with your own eyes, not as others frame us. As for Sabine, she pauses to consider her words. I will not ask you to betray them, but if they contact you again, consider their motivations carefully. With that, Rubaia leaves, slipping back into her office, while you stare out at the countless units, each a home with a story that make up the Low End. So, I'm going to head to the restroom real quick. But before I do that, I'm going to kind of make my point here. The Yatagan is definitely, just based off Rubaia and our interactions with Rubaia alone, setting themselves up as more generous. The cost is 80 instead of 100. Just like Sabine, we were given a what's it called? a stabilizer for free. Scrap components on the collect ties might be worthwhile here. I'll be right back. I mean, if nothing else, it might be something worthwhile to grab when we, just to keep us up as far as scrap components go. Or the condition goes. Oh yeah, we need to steal the gun. Gun tucked safely into a pocket, you work your way down the stairs that lead up to the office. Doorman passes and you exchange nods. Seems like you're in the clear. You hurry on, eager to get out before anyone spots anything. As you come down the main stairway into the front of the club, see Ethan entering. He has a dark look in his eyes which troubles you. He's reaching into the pocket of his coat, slowly, carefully. You catch his eye, and he raises an eyebrow. You shake your head. A long pause, then he nods, and turns around, walking back out of the club. You exhale, not realizing you were holding your breath, and then you're out. Without a single shout, without anyone noticing. You meet Ethan around the club, around the corner. A quiet, bright market walkway. You have it? What are you doing back there? I was about to start a distraction, like we agreed. This, just show me. You lift it out of your pocket, and it's colder, heavier than you expected. Ethan watches you take it out. Now, if you would... He beckons with his hand. Memory jumps into your mind of Ethan in the compressor, hand out, asking for his gun back. A memory followed by the memory of a sharp, dizzying pain. You flinch. Yeah. Yeah. On the one hand, we could give him the gun. Which, I mean, I suspect we're probably going to anyway, since we went through the trouble of getting it. But... I don't know. I kind of feel like giving him the gun is the bad decision. And I feel like the game is... God, I don't know. The game is emphasizing this, but I don't know. I'll trust him this time. Ethan eagerly grabs it and looks down the sights. He sighs a sigh of relief. Then he meets your eye and slowly raises the gun until it's pointing directly at your head. Not funny. You still don't get it, do you, Sleeper? When we canceled that contract, I lost everything. My reputation, my payout, my way of getting off this shitty situation, this city station, everything. All I had left was you, a naive little sleeper with a heart of gold. I couldn't believe it worked. And now we're done. But the contract's canceled. No shit. Ethan steps back a little, taking himself out of arm's reach. He slides a slate out of his jacket pocket with his other hand. Now to call Maywick. Are you crazy? You are crazy, Sleeper, for thinking I'd kill one of my own for you. For what, helping me wash dishes? He laughs long and loud, and you hate him for it. Prods the slate. Done. He puts it away. He's here, you know, on the station. I've been speaking with him. Tells me we can split the contract. Not 50-50, but enough of a finder's fee that I can get out of this shithole. He's lying. At this point, Sleeper, I'm not sure you're the one who I'd trust to spot a lie. He winks. Ethan glances around. I've learned one thing from you, though, Sleeper, in all our cycles working in that shitty club. People never know when to cut and run. It's like they freeze in the headlights when the future is bearing down on them. You watch it coming, watch their death flying in at fraction drive speed. You had every chance, and yet you still kept on going, like some idiot robot going through the motions even when you knew you'd be crushed. And let me tell you something else. The shot enters through his upper back, and he crumples to the ground immediately. You drop too, without thinking, pressuring yourself to the walkway floor like it might save you. Silence. You look up, see him coming down the walkway, silent, eyes alight. Maywick. You freeze in fear. Here it comes. You see it, just by Ethan's crumpled body. The gun. You can't. You inch forward. You go forward. You run forward and a shot sounds out. You feel it ripple over your back. Then your hands are on the gun. You scramble to your knees behind Ethan's body and fire. You close your eyes. You fire again and again and again until the clip is empty and all that's left are clicks. Then you drop the gun and you stand up. You don't hear anyone running. You don't hear anything. You just hear the sound of your own breath. You start walking, stepping over Ethan's static body, walking along the walkway and then past Maywick, his eyes now dark, some mechanical fluid leaking from his chest. Perhaps the same fluid that's inside you. You try not to think about it. You keep going. And the sound comes back. The eye comes back. And as it does, you hear the sound of thousands of people getting on with their lives. Thousands of people who are just going to keep going until they can't anymore. You look up, and all you see are the wheeling stars. They are spinning, and you are suddenly dizzy. Though the eye has always spun like this, hasn't it? You don't stop walking. You keep going. It's all there is now, the path forward. SNARP have left you no history, no past to speak of, just a void that threatens to swallow you if you slow down. You think of Ethan's smile, his voice, and you feel sick. Is it over? You aren't sure it ever can be, but you're still here, and you can't stop now. There has to be a better end than this. Well, in a way I got what I wanted. In a way I also demonstrably very did not. But that took care of the only thing that was kind of being held above our heads. So oops. Why do I keep doing that? Wait, is it not? It is. I keep trying to put it in the wrong side. And we have into it +1, so... Now, it feels like this is kind of pushing us toward an ending just because of how many items there are. Yeah, I think I'm fine. So this one is, I think, the other option for the house. We would need to get a fair amount of scrap for it. And it doesn't feel like there are a lot of great options for scrap. Especially not when we can, you know, alternatively use it to keep our fifth die. You wake from a dream of Maywick's amber eyes, floating in a pool of dark liquid. Fluid. It was difficult to get to sleep, and you suspect that isn't about to change anytime soon. Not after what happened. But you also feel something else as you get up, thumb the power stud of the stove, and begin to boil the water, like every other morning. You feel something is lifted, something that's been hanging over you since you arrived on the station. Try not to think too hard about it, to question it. You just let that lightness stay. Let it settle as you go through your routines. Your hope is that if you don't focus on it, don't look at it directly, it won't get scared and leave you. Then the lightness will stay for this cycle, and then another, and then another. So after all that's happened, little lightness would be nice. I can't pronounce a single fucking thing, it turns out. Okay. Dang. Actually, I am kind of curious about one thing. There was, shit we could do here. I'm more willing to do this side because, well, actually, minus energy is probably fine. Oops. Quick throwing item. Buy a spacer meal. Interesting. As long as I'm not the one paying for it, I'm willing to drop these scrap components to keep our fifth die. As you say your goodbyes to the other enforcers and walk back through the low end, a chirruping catches your attention. In a quiet corridor, away from the main thoroughfares, someone has stuck a small recorder to the wall with suit sealant tape. Written across the fluorescent tape is one word: sleeper. You peel it away from the wall. As you do, it triggers some kind of improvised trip switch. Sleeper, Sabine's voice crackles through. I've seen you with Yadigan members. Are they holding you captive now too? A high whine. I'm sorry if I've dragged you into this. Do not trust them. Something is happening within the gang, some kind of power struggle. You cover their speaker a little for their voice too loud in the quiet corridor. I will come soon. Thanks to your efforts, I've located most of their properties. At the right time, pause, I will soon you soon. Don't give up. Remember our deal. You stare at the recorder, processing what you've just heard. Hearing Sabine's voice again opens up something inside of you. Ness and her employ. Do they know that I know? You struggle with a mix of concern and distrust. You throw the recorder into a nearby waste chute as you leave the corridor, still unsure who to trust. and head quietly out of the low end. Oh, nice. We can, hit our stuff up here. I appreciate this being tedious. As I, fucking hit my... Just fucking ran my hand right into my goddamn headphones. Oh. Okay. With all the materials, the unit now needs sealing, section by section, to be useful. It's a laborious task, but the outcome ought to be worth it. Okay, so let's go back up to the hub. Side'll be fine for the 50-50. And we got lucky anyway. Was there something here? There was. No way, Moritz. You take those substandard filters back to those shitheels who sold you them. You hear the voice echoing out of the bay as you pass, and moments later someone who you assume is Moritz drifts out with it, dragging a pallet of filter cartridges by a tether. Hey, you out there, same voice echoes out of the entrance. Looking for work? Who, me? Everyone on the station's looking for work. Get in here. The voice is coming from someone shorter than you expected. She's floating in the microgravity of the docking bay beside a half-deconstructed life support unit that looks like it might have exploded at some point. She points a wrench in your direction. You know anything about these things? She doesn't wait for an answer. Scratch that. Just help me with the casing. Alright. She definitely moves around the unit, making space for you beside the central seam in the dented case. Just take a grip here and lift it out and up, and I can get in and unbolt it. She whacks the unit with a wrench. Whole thing is twisted to shit. You dig your fingers under the casing and lift it away. Excuse me. The metal squealing from the force, she puts her hands under, spinning the wrench to slip out the bolts, catching them in her other hand when they spiral free. All good. The casing lifts off, revealing the ornate piping of the unit's interior. She whistles at the mess of ducts and filters. By the way, everyone calls me Blitz. Bliss. She pats you on the shoulder, offering little in the way of an explanation. Is this your bay? It is for now. Whether I like it or not, she looks at you like that should mean something. Bliss starts pushing and pulling at the ductwork, looking for fractured pipes. We haggle for contracts, but the good ones get snapped up quick by the bigger bays, so here I'm trying to get this M2 unit running again for one of the freelance tugs. Small-time stuff. Hold this, she rips out. She rips out a ribbed pipe and hands it to you like a freshly caught fish. You turn stuff around fast and neat, and maybe wait a chance at landing something bigger. Something starts hissing in the unit, and Bliss quiets it with a precise whack. To be honest with you, the way things are going, I can already see the other crews licking their lips, ready to take this place over. She looks up at you. I'm almost out of luck. What happened? Long story, some people just can't keep their promises. She keeps working, twisting aside pipes with care. There we are. Bliss pulls her hand from deep inside the unit, and out it comes, clutching a lumpen cube, scorched black. This thing must have overloaded and popped half of itself out the side. You both duck down to the side of the unit and spot the exit wound. Its edge is fringed with more scorch marks. Grab me a replacement converter from the racks. Will you? Head to the rack. You kick off from the unit and drift over to the wall racks where a catalog of parts sits secured in clamps. Colored tape and scrawled notes flutter across the wall. A complex organizational system of Bliss's own design, or just a big mess. You try to pick out the right part. Did she even say? Well, I mean, presumably it'd be an M2 converter, right? Grab the part and push back to the unit. Bliss holds out an arm as you pass it over. Converter spinning gently as it leaves your hand. Perfect, you passed. She straightens up from the unit. That is, if you want to work here. Bliss rubs her hand clean, looking down at her palms. Truth is, I need a hand here. My partner skipped out on me and left me with a whole mess. You seem like you might at least be better at spotting a clean air filter than Moritz. I'll consider it. Wait. She frowns at the racks. That's not all of it. My old business partner, they rinsed the place, emptied their accounts. To bid for jobs, we need to put down deposits, bring in parts, pay tug fees. For that, she looks embarrassed. We need chits. You want me to pay to work? Come on, it's not like that. We'd be partners, straight split. Bliss settles herself against the unit and looks off in the distance. I guess I look pretty stupid. Here I am asking any random passerby to be my business partner. No offense. It is pretty weird. She gives you a sideways look. Don't tease me. Bliss goes back to working on the unit. Look, it's no pressure. You find the money, or you find someone who has, you just forget the whole thing. Up to you. She gestures for you to help her refit the casing, and you both slot it back into place. I think I'm going to wrap this one up for now. If you're into it, come back and we can bid on a new contract. Something to get our teeth into, something that pays. She gives you a serious look. You can trust me. I don't say this stuff lightly. Kick away from the bay, propelling yourself back to the handholds by the entrance. Slip out with a wave, and as you do, someone slips back in. You hear Bliss as you glide down the passageway. Moritz, I swear to God, if those filters aren't clean, you smile. Seems like this could be interesting. Okay. God, we need so many fucking... At this point in time, it feels like everything that we're doing, we need 100 fucking cryo for. We don't quite have the money, but I'm not going for that right now. I finish these up. Not bad. Okay. Only place to sleep on the hub, hacked off a colony ship and welded the ring, they're surprisingly expensive to rent. But I wonder if that's a one-time deal or what. I mean, I think I'm still gonna go for the derelict unit, but... we're only gonna have four dice, it's fine. toss this in here. And take the ferry across the Founder's Gap to the Greenway. As you step out in the passage, someone barrels into you from behind, sending you stumbling down the corridor. You turn to see an unfamiliar spacer, laden with heavy gear. She steadies herself, staring you down as if daring you to respond. Excuse me? She squints at you, shaking her head before setting off down the corridor. Sorry for her, the second spacer smiles at you apologetically. She's on a mission, and when she's on a mission, they shrug. Not a problem. They smile. You're sweet. Peek. Ash stands further down the corridor, glowering at her friend. She chops at the air, pointing down the corridor to whatever end she's rushing to. He raises their eyebrow at you. Ash, please. Do you want everyone on this station to hate us? Ash hardens. They want to hate us, they can hate us. She drops her hip. I'm not exactly seeing much love as it is. Lucky we got through before they set up that damn cordon. Cordon? Peek gestures in your direction. See? I don't even know what you're talking about. The station isn't Hawthorne. Not everyone has to follow some corporate protocol. Ash sighs. I'm not saying they're part of the administration. She jerks her head in your direction. But I am saying we need to get these supplies to the Briar before someone starts asking questions. Briar? It's our ship, Peek explains. Peek. Ash rolls her eyes. What are you doing? Peek ignores her. We're with the refugees, the one Haven Age have cordoned off from entering the station. Ash interrupts. The ones that are being quarantined in makeshift vessels that barely made it to the Eye to begin with. The ones that your station administrators have called an existential risk and are running out of supplies, while the right to safety is being debated by people with no stake in the future. She quickly looks away, annoyed at her own outburst. Okay, so standard refugees. The Eye is effectively America in this case. Got it. Peek sighs. She's right. People are trapped out there and... He turned to Ash. We understand this is a big problem for the Eye. Hundreds of refugees, more ships, turning up each cycle. They hold up a hand to stop Ash interrupting. But... Ash turns away, her burning anger a palpable force in the close quarters of the corridor. They need supplies. After everything they've been through, the quarantine isn't helping. That's terrible. Ash looks back at you, her fierceness fading. Peek. Please. Ash gathers herself and the supplies. Ash, we need help. Just like the refugees needed us, we need others too. You smile at her. Peek turns to you. Come find us. The climbing briar is docked at the Broken Spoke, past the Greenway, in the wastes. We have a good view of the cordon, though we are keeping our distance for now. I keep pronouncing it like it's cordon bleu, but it's cordon. Come help us. They squeeze your hand. Ash turns to leave. Peek follows, waving goodbye. A moment later, Ash shouts back down the hall. Don't bother coming empty-handed. You want to help? Show us. Bring supplies or don't come at all. And with that, they disappear around the corner, Ash already picking up speed as Peek calls for her to slow down. Refugee flotilla? Flotilla? I actually don't know how to pronounce that word, thinking about it. Like, my brain sees that and mentally wants to, you know, have the tia be pronounced the same as in tortilla. But that's... fucked if I know. Where are they coming from? Why now? Each time you think you begin to understand this place, something changes. Okay. Ah, here we have Feng. When you enter the service dock, Feng is already set up. Crouched among stacks of equipment, he's leaning over a terminal bathed in a blue glow. He looks totally at home. Sleeper, what do you think? Turns out not everyone in Haven Age is set against me. A couple of my old systems pals managed to ship me some of my old gear. He gestures at the pile of blinking hardware. The mess is here! Feng laughs. Don't question the process, Sleeper. What are we looking at? One massive smoking gun. He raises his eyebrows. Feng beckons you over. He has a set of scans of the wastes on his terminal, with heat maps of activity overlaid. A chunk of the derelict rim is blotchy with bright red and orange marks. Does this look like a wasteland to you? Fang shakes his head. There's hundreds of Conway's machines out there, all lined up in concealed hangars, and a whole underground facility to support them. Hardin's got a crew out there putting them together. Must have shipped them in piece by piece through the shipyard, ready for assembly out there. Machines? It's Conway's whole thing. Remote-operated vehicles, drones, cutters, savage haulers, the full set. Maybe Hardin masked this whole thing as an effort to clean up the waste, but there's no way this is about pulling scrap off the eye. Fang looks worried. And why is Conway in the mix? I bet no one in Haven Age knows another corporation is setting up on the station. They aren't stupid either. These scans are the best info I can get. The wastes are cut off from the eye's cloud of networks, and the greenway's in a total dark zone. No data can come in or out. You can't hack them? Well, we can't from here. He turns and winks. That's why I'm gonna pay. Why I am gonna pay him a visit. How? Forget Haven Age coming in and out of there all cycle. I should be able to get in, as long as no one I know sees me. He grimaces playfully. But I need you on the outside to help disable security systems and cut me a pathway through. There's no cloud access, but if I can get inside, I can open up nodes in their network, and we can work in tandem. It's a massive facility, buried deep down there. Miles of corridors and ventways wrapped around cargo bays and hangars, so it'll take more than a few cycles to work through it. As long as you can keep them off my back, I know I can rip what we need out of there. Pulls a handful of ripper worms from his pocket and hands them to you. These are the last of my little helpers I managed to salvage, so make them count. I modified them slightly. This time they'll feed their data threads back into the system they're tunneling into, creating a nasty little feedback loop. We run it just like we did with the agents. Hack the nodes I ping to locate the ports for the security systems, slot the worms in those systems, let them go to town. He points to a fuzzy silhouette of the buried facility on the terminal. Here's the entryway. This is where you can get access and slot the first worm. That'll fry their perimeter systems and get me past the first cordon. What I need from you is to keep your eyes on the facility after you kick things off. You see me pop up a security system, a security bank, you need to break in and slot a ripper to disable it as soon as you can. If I can't, Fang gives you a hard look. You miss a system, you wait too long, they're going to find me. Simple as that. He claps you on the shoulder. I need you focused on this one. So I am going to let you fire the starting gun. I won't go until you slot that first worm. I'll leave a tracker running on the terminal here, so come back here if you want to see my progress. He affectionately pats the top of the screen. Sounds risky. Risky? This is audacious, at least. Wouldn't be worth it if it wasn't. Fang gets up. It's all in place. You just need to make your own preparations and slot the worm. Just don't wait too long. I'm getting bored of all this sneaking around. Once I'm inside, I'll get the proof we need to end this whole thing. No matter what. He crouches to check the terminal. We can't take longer than 6 cycles on this thing. Remember that. Stands up. One last thing. He lowers his voice. If I get caught, or you can't reach me, or you run out of time, there's one thing I need to do. What? You take whatever I've managed to pull at that point, all that data, you slot that stuff straight into the relay I've set up here. He points to a pile of servers and terminals hooked into the dock with cables as thick as your arm. Repurpose the dock's SOS broadcast system, beam out whatever you put into it. Anyone with a terminal, slate, or server on the eye will see it. That means Haven Age, Yatagan, the hub, everyone. No matter what, Hardin isn't snaking away this time. He grins. I got a bit more to do here, but the moment that you slot that first worm, I'll make my move. Gives you a parting smile, turns back to the terminal. Nerves hit as you make your way out of the service dock. Time to prepare yourself. Okay, so that's... I don't remember what the Ashton thing... Oh, yeah, Ankita. Okay. So what do we actually need from them? Ah. Late gameplay. Interesting. Interesting that there is a concept of late gameplay in this. And again, probably equally interesting that I don't feel like we are late game, given that we have so many issues staying sustainable. The Greenway roils beneath you like a silt-choked river. If what Navigator said was true, then no one's accessed these networks since the collapse. The Hunter and Killer protocols have never set foot here, never cleared out the intelligence and systems. So why then, you wonder, does it look so dark? Is it just that the bit rot's set in? The entropy of systems reducing everything to shadows and light? You watch as the sledded cipher fizzles in one open, distorted gateway on this entire rim of the station. It flickers and winks out, and then you're falling into the flow. A river of swirling darkness. You were spun by it, twisted by it, lost in it. It's not that the Greenway was hiding in the darkness. It's made of darkness. It's filled with this substance, this process, this swarm. Now you're among it. You notice what a swarm is. You notice that a swarm is exactly what it is. A billion individuals moving in a flow. There's no network map here, no nodes, no threads, only a storm of interchangeable points, shifting configuration endlessly. Then you see them. A figure, turned away, the only bright spot in the dark river. You push closer through the storm. Pish. They are facing away. At least you think so. They're so fractured, so overgrown, it's hard to tell. Even from a distance, you can see their flesh is moving, flowing. You watch, silent as they stoop and reach down. In their hand is a dark shape, and with twisted fingers they press it down into the loam of data below them, pushing it through the trembling soil. Then they move away, go a little further, and repeat the process, as if they were sowing a field. You push forward, but somehow, despite their slow and deliberate speed, they move faster, and they quickly fade into the storm. You reach the point where they planted the object and look down. There it is, a glassy, shifting polygon with something inside. You reach down, and you pick it up. It's cold, but it thrums with energy. You look towards the path of the figure, but they're long gone. When you blink out of the cloud back to the leaves and the dappled light of the Greenway, you hold a seed in your hand. Interesting. I'm gonna get a fair amount of, like he did say that, we would have, no more than 6 cycles? As you slot the worm, a thread jumps up out of the facility, unspools in front of you, and releases its data like ink and water. Sleeper, Fang's voice crackles through. Moving in. Nodes and ports. A whir of interference. Slot the worms. Timer starts now. Stay safe. Thread dissipates. You're on your own now. Got lucky here. Okay, so I can't do all of them. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Let's actually go work for Rabaya for that scrap component. I'm not going to use it right now, but I am going to use the stabilizer. I really want to maintain peak form for this. Yeah, thankfully. Ah, this is the... Given that we have 2 5s. Jesus. 6 or 4. 6 or 5. And 5 or 3. We can actually get 2 of the 3, and then we can re-roll. Still have 2 dice for that. Unfortunate, but this is just the second cycle for it, so I suppose I can't complain too bad. This seed I have, I wonder if, once we get it all set up, it'll be viable there. Oh, well, I mean, we have the 6, so... And this should be good. Thread from this facility cuts through the cloud like a hairline crack of light. That's it. The final layer of security broken. Somewhere buried in the depths of the station, Fang's in control. He's slicing the camera control circuits and piping out the result. The thread flickers and unravels into an image, a scene. 2 figures in a room, one sat, the other pacing. The pacing figure resolves into Hardin, the unmistakable superior posture, the shock of gray hair. Second figure's features don't seem to resolve. They're vague, unformed. A problem with the data, perhaps? You look closer. Then you see it. The figure's a proxy. Perhaps you should have expected it from Conway, a corporation whose very existence is owed to automation. The proxy's a machine, designed to be piloted by remote connection, someone elsewhere in the system, puppeteering it with their own body, speaking so it may speak. The proxy sits impassively, or the Conway executive that is piloting them does, in the distant safety of some ship or orbital colony, perhaps. We can move forward, there's no doubt, Hardin's saying. The reclamation teams are almost ready. After that, I'll make the declaration. Nothing has to change. Proxy leans forward, its movement stilted, uneven, as if its body was being refracted through water. But things must change, Hardin. We need further assurances. I've been informed of a breach in one of the closed networks in the low end. You have been careless. Hardin waves the accusation away. We have been stretched, yes. A breach was detected, yes, but no data of value was lost. Our board is concerned, Hardin. A drop in our value would be unwelcome at this time. Proxy leans back, its posture dominant. the reclamation of A1 is contested, then we could be drawn into a compromising legal position. Hardin approaches the proxy. There will be no contest, not from Solheim, who cannot muster a defense, not from Haven Age, who will fall into line below me. Crouches in front of the seated figure, eye to eye, and the people of the station? Refugees, gangs, spacers, all either opportunists or degenerates. Haven Age is no longer strong, no longer united. No one here believes in Erlin's vision, nor has the strength to enact it. I sat across from him at the negotiating table. He was forceful, eager, weakened by his ideological convictions perhaps, but a great man nonetheless. This place no longer deserves to bear his name. The Eye is crippled. It cannot survive. It is a ruin filled with squatters and outlaws. They'll be lucky if it still spins in 100 cycles. Hardin stands. You will move forward with the reclamation because otherwise you will lose your advantage in the system. Without your advantage, you will lose claims on the remaining palladium. Without the palladium, your factories will go dark. Do I need to continue? One moment, comes a response from the proxy, and its head drops to its chest. Hardin steps back and paces once more, awaiting the discussions taking place elsewhere in the system. You watch Hardin as he paces, as he considers his future. What goes on within a mind like that? In the mind of a man who would burn all those around him for a path to some imagined gold end. The proxy lifts its head. We're happy to succeed. We'll legally claim the station formerly known as Solheim A1 as salvage within 6 cycles. Haven Age is to assist with the transport of legal residents to Conway housing and labor facilities. The proxy judders to its feet. Conway will also claim 70% of the raw output of the reclamation process after losses have been accounted for. Hardin nods. I accept. Proxy reaches out to shake his hand like a marionette, and then the recording loops. You watch it play out a second time, gripped by a horrified fascination. There's a bluntness to the conversation, to its blatant disregard for humans as anything other than objects. Things to be moved, to be used, to be fed into structures crushed in losses, accounted for in the cell of tables in the margin of ledgers. You realize now that you're no different than anyone else on the station in the eyes of the people in that room and those like them. Each body here can be recast as a piece of property, a tool, an expense, an acceptable loss. In one moment they can be named a citizen, celebrated, protected, and in another, the very idea of citizenship can be used against them. This is what it means to live in proximity to a system like this. No longer. Not while the eye spins. You gather a recording, pack it into a polygon of the purest light. Then you drift down in the service dock like a falling leaf and find the relay. It only takes a second to place that polygon of data, that recording, into the relay system Fang prepared. And you watch as it bursts out, a web of threads heading out into the black to every network device on the Eye. Let them see what power makes of a man. This feels like it's just too fucking important with how frequently we have been struggling for cash. So I think this is for the seeds and the mushrooms. Or the spores and the mushrooms, I guess. This is, of course, for ultimately a fairly fat stack of cash. Ankita. The trail ahead extends deep into an overgrown section of the Greenway. This far into the ring, where the long, lazy curve of the Greenway becomes a shattered landscape of the wastes, things are oddly quiet. Ahead stands a vast farm stack, broken from its axis by rust or force, and lying amongst the overgrown landscape like an ancient temple. It's stained with moss and algae, flows of green running out from its broken tanks like a frozen, brackish tide. This is where Ashton's hiding. You're pretty sure. All your intuition points to the shadows beneath this collapsed superstructure. You roll the comm headset Ankita gave you in your palm. Call Ankita. You slip the headset into your ear and it fizzes with static. After a few moments you hear Ankita. Sleeper, have you located the target? A doubt enters your mind. Can you be sure he is there? Is the game gonna be a dick about this? Yeah. Copy. Hold until I get there. Static cuts out, the channel dead. You hold your position and watch the trail. Head the stars wheel with the motion of the AI and your mind wanders. Try to imagine what this place looked like before the collapse. All ordered rows of crops, corporate pleasure gardens, glowing farm stacks. Now it's a wilderness, a strange overgrown biosphere bordered by a void of space. You smile despite everything. It seems like an improvement. Sleeper, Ankita says, brings you out of your reverie. He's in the collapsed stack? I think so. She gives you a look. You better be right. There's no way I'm following that trail. If he's up there, he'll have eyes on that for sure. She glances across the landscape. Let's keep to the undergrowth, work our way around. She heads off towards the central spine of the greenway with you following close behind it. It's slow going there, where the overgrowth meets the metal wall, but so concealed that you can barely see the glass roof high above. Ankita seems to somehow seems to know where to go. Ankita works her way through the dense undergrowth, pushing aside branches and fronds. It's exhausting, and you desperately want to rest. But Ankita shows no signs of letting up. Up ahead, there's a faint glow from the collapsed stack. Ankita leads you around to the side to a broken tank. You both step through the opening, trying to avoid the broken glass that sits among the moss and algae. You work your way up the slanted tank, Ankita setting a deliberate pace. Somewhere, water drips, and you swear you hear birdsong. Hanging plants catch the light, coating the place in a pale and sickly green. Ankita reaches the edge of the tank, where it meets the central drum, and holds up a hand for you to stop. You inch forward and look over the edge. The vast drum is like a cistern, with plants growing on all sides and wet, mossy islands at its base. It's beautiful, and for a moment you can't see anything but tones of green. Then you see the sleeper. In a faint circle of light descending down through the drum, Sleeper lies slumped at an odd angle. They're surrounded by crates, and beside them, on one of the mossy islands, there's an object. A cylinder set on a tarp. It's connected to the sleeper's head. You flinch. Are they one of the others? One of the ones that escaped with you? You squint, trying to recognize them. You're twisted, broken open, wrong. You look away. Ankita doesn't look at you. She doesn't look at the sleeper. She fixes her eyes on the object. That's Amber's ship mine, she says. You suddenly recognize the cylinder. Who is... You turn to Ankita to speak, but she's already gone. She drops at the edge of the tank and lands on one of the mossy islands, her armor letting out a hiss as it absorbs the impact. The shot hits her shoulder piece, the ceramic armor cracking but holding as she braces into the impact. She launches herself forward, now activated armor launching her across the drum. Another shot goes wide before she reaches the cover of the crates beside the sleeper. Shit, you hear the shout from one of the tanks high on the far wall. Ankita reaches over and wraps a hand around the thick connection between the ship mine and the sleeper. You better come down here or I'll rip this right out of their head. She screams at the wall of tanks. You shiver at the suggestion. There's a long pause. All you can hear is the dripping of the water running down the walls of the drum. Then Ashton calls out. I'm coming down, Ankita. Don't do anything stupid, for God's sakes. He appears at the far side of the drum, stepping through the shallow water, rifle raised above his head. Drop the gun, Ankita shouts. Throws it down onto the moss. As you lean out to watch, you see him catch your eye, clocking your presence. What are you up to here, Ashton, you sicko? She stands, keeping her sidearm trained on his head. You ripped my ship line for what? Some freakish experiment? Ashton approaches with shaking hands, his eyes now fixed on the connecting bundle of wires that Ankita still has hold of. Steady, Ankita. It isn't like that. I needed the ship mined. You have to understand. They would have died without it. What are you talking about? I don't give a shit why you ripped my ship mine and crippled my ship. I should put you down right now. She tightens her grip on the connection. Typical of you, Ankita. No curiosity. Ashton smiles shakily. That's why I never asked for it. Your help. You only look after yourself. He nods at you. That sleeper up there, they're just bait, right? Draw me out? Ankita sucks a breath in. Are you trying to give me more reasons to shoot you? I love them, Ankita. Ankita looks at the crumpled sleeper. I love them, and they were gonna die. And I knew you would never understand that. He starts closing the gap between himself and Ankita now, slowly inching forward. Don't do that, Ashton, Ankita shouts. Snarls, don't do that. Let the wires go, Ankita. Let us go. If you don't get out of my way, he inches closer. Please. I can't let you take it, Ashton. Ankita hardens her stare. You stole it from me. You left me for dead. She shakes her head. You think I'm going to trust you after all that? I need it, Ankita. I need them to survive. Ashton's in reach of the sleeper now. Of Ankita. I'm going to take them, Ankita. He raises a hand. I'm going to take the ship, mind. And go. Ankita loosens her grip on the connection a little. Her hand is shaking now. Stop, Ashton. She lowers the gun a little. Stop. Seeing her drop her guard, he makes his move. A blur of movement, a struggle, a shot, another. You recoil behind the edge as they ricochet around inside the drum, the sound deafening you. When you crawl back to the edge, Ashton's bleeding to the water. When you crawl back to the edge, Ashton is bleeding into the water. The red and the green. Ankita's standing at the center of the drum, severed connection in her hand. The water drips endlessly. Drip. After drip. After drip. You force yourself to look at the broken sleeper. There's no sign of life, of humanity. There's just another broken object among other broken objects, while all around, living things grow and thrive. Ankita finally looks up at you, tears in her eyes. She begins to say something that might be sorry, but you're already gone. Well, shit. I suppose that went about as poorly as that could have gone. I don't know where to go for this one. Is she still over on the Greenway? I didn't see. No, that's the other ship. Yeah, maybe she's on the hub. Hell, maybe we need to go back to our ship. Maybe we need to wait a cycle for it. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, we don't have the 100 cryo for that either. Although, everything should be discounted 20%. I should check on this. Okay. That's good. So that will take a couple cycles. I guess given that, let's take the most money we can get and rest the cycle. Okay. So Ankita's still not back where I know where to talk to her. Let's wait and see about using those. This should give us enough for the partner deal, which may end up giving us a decent amount of money. Oh, okay. I think given that, we'll be working on these. Really wish that was a 4 instead. We still got the positive. So the nice thing here is even with a negative one, we'll have the money to grab food, but so this is going to be about the Haven Age stuff. Harden. Ah, I expected a dream. Little Fang. Fang grins at you as the bay doors slide open. Above, in the rest of the building, people are busy, frightened. They speak in hushed tones and organize endless meeting after endless meeting. Haven Age have avoided a full-blown crisis, for now. Change is coming. Fang is in good spirits and bundles you inside before you even have the chance to greet him. It was the slickest operation the station's ever seen. He hugs you firmly. You made my job easy. He shakes you by the shoulders. I am so proud. And, he smiles, I got to watch through the cameras as the Haven Age security that weren't in on it assaulted the station. Fang smiled. One of them straight up just whacked Harden with their pistol. It was beautiful. What are they going to do with him? Not sure anyone knows. But he's cooperating in dismantling this operation and scaring off Conway. Maybe they'll exile him when they're done, or hand him over to some core authority. No, I know he won't be an issue. Now I know he won't be an issue, and I'm going to be focusing on systems for a bit. He shakes his head, seeing as, that's my actual job. Points to the ceiling. The people upstairs, though, they weren't so happy. They've been fielding questions about the state of the eye right and left since the recording got out. People are scared. Not surprised. Yeah, this whole thing hasn't won me many fans in the administration, but I think in the end they'll agree that outing Harden was worth it, whatever the methods. Touches a stack of hardware. The eye is old. It was never meant to run like this. The master control points that Erlen and Haven Age installed, they keep it spinning from the rim. That isn't ideal. You're asking me if the eye will stop spinning next cycle? No. He smiles, and me and a ton of other skilled people will be working to stop it happening in the cycle after that. Harden's problem was that he didn't believe in people. He believed in systems, and their ability to shape the world around them. Fang squeezes your shoulder. As far as I'm concerned, people should be the ones running the systems, not the other way around. Anyway, Fang raps on the side of his terminal. I know you didn't come down here for a lecture. My tracker. I haven't forgotten. He produces a thumbnail drive. I managed to finish that code solution I showed you. It's a modified Ripper worm, one made to deactivate that tracker ears, but in the time since I got back, I added something extra. That tracker ears doesn't just show SNR where you are, it transmits data about the state of your body, your current condition. My worm won't just deactivate it, it'll edit that data to tell SNR your body is irreparably damaged. DNR. Do not retrieve. He grins widely. Pretty smart, right? That's perfect. Just slot it already. You take the drive and hold it in your hands. You close your eyes and open up your access ports. Take down your defenses. The worm immediately enters your closed network. It whips through it, taking things with it as it goes. The moment they're gone, you forget they were ever there. They just blink out of existence. A second later, it's done. Open your eyes. How do you feel? Asks Fang, a little nervously. Tired. Aren't we all? He pats you on the shoulder, take it easy. Things might be a little woozy for a minute. He looks at his terminal screen. The logs tell me it worked, so feel it or not, you're free. Fang lets the word free hang in the air a little before he continues. Seems like it might be finally time for a celebration. Fang wraps his arm around you. Jenna still owes us those drinks. He laughs and you join him. And later, when you leave, you feel deeply thankful for having such a friend. As you walk away from the building, you look up at the wide curve of the eye, up at the hub, and the other rim beyond it. The whole thing twinkles with lights, and it seems impossible to see it as anything other than breathtakingly beautiful. It feels, in that moment, like something eternal. That doesn't mean it can or even should last forever, or that it will never change, fade, or decay. It just means that in this moment, this place has a future, and it's one that you know, deeply and truly, is worth protecting. Okay. Amusingly, we're actually back at the point where one upgrade point doesn't do a damn thing for us. It really feels like about half of these are not useful at all. And by half, I mean the two that I have not grabbed. Though part of that might just be my unwillingness to not have at least 4 dice. Good Lord, why would I ever want to have less than 4 dice? Why would I ever willingly have less than 4 dice? Let's toss this on the sidereal assembly. Still annoys me a bit. Where the fuck did Ankita go? We'll probably toss those on Minji. Ah, there. Ankita's away. Ember's docked here at a rickety old jetty, but she's sealed up. A note says, "Sleeper, stay. I'll be ready soon." Yeah, both of these are safe. Interesting. Well, I mean, don't I need the... Oh shit, where the hell do I go for this? Then... Yeah, I'm gonna assume this is all just not giving me the information I need, and that the commune is where I need. Oh yeah, I still need to finish up the, that room. Upside, even with just the one, we're good. We are going down to 4, but... C'est la vie. Oh, down further. Stray hops up onto a work surface and looks out of the unit's small window. Doesn't acknowledge your presence, just sits there, besides a tray of crumbled crackers, staring out at the low end. What's its cat's story? Are there more on station? You haven't seen another in the low end, but in this vast megastructure, that means little. There'd be a whole colony of cats like this one down in the Warrens. You look at its sleek, dark fur and sharp eyes. It doesn't look ragged. It looks at home, in fact. Its presence in the unit makes you wonder if this is the Stray's apartment, which you're squatting in. You lean a little forward and the Stray tenses up. Perhaps best to give it a moment to get used to you. Stray settles a little and starts eating, picking at the broken crackers. You don't remember ever having been this close to an animal. It triggers something in you. Recognition of a life, totally unlike your own, but still somehow connected, parallel, even interwoven. Stray licks crumbs from its fur. Were you born here? Stray lifts its head as you speak, but looks out at the glow of the low end, not at you. Cat's comfort in this place is enough to answer your question. Stray is a born resident of the Eye, like all those thousands out there beyond your window. This is, after all, a place for strays, for both those who begin their journey here and those who end it. You turn your eyes to the window, the one that the Stray looks out of, and you both watch the stars and the ships together. You feel something pass between you and the Stray, a kind of acknowledgement of each other, a sense that each of you might share something with the other, a point of connection. And then all at once the Stray yawns wide, hops down from the unit, brushes along your legs, and then it's gone, out through the unit door and back into the corridors of the low end. I really, really like the writing in this. I know I've said this probably a couple dozen times, but I really like the writing here. We need to talk to Ankita. With any luck, we'll get our 200 fucking credits. I think I need to check on Bliss. You spot Ankita on the track to the farm stack. She has a box on her shoulder. She's working her way down the slope. She sees you as she approaches. Neither of you speak for a moment. She looks tired, pale. Her hair is tangled and clumps of dirt cling to her armor. You both eye each other. Stay silent. Sleeper. She takes a deep breath. I'm sorry for what happened. Truly I am. She looks down. I'm sorry you ended up in the middle of this, when all you've shown me is kindness. She rubs her face. I'm sorry. It's okay. She nods and looks up to the stars. She stops herself. Thank you. Gita shifts the weight of the box on her shoulders. I've been preparing for... Look. She sighs. Can you come with me? It's easier if... Lead on. Nikita leads on down the dirt path between the pillars. There's a wind passing through the greenway. Quirk of the air currents the biosphere maintains, and it ruffles the leaves softly. The sound makes the silence more obvious, more complete. You try not to think of the last time you were here. You've been trying not to think of it for the past few cycles. The image of the sleeper, sprawled, twisted open, connected to the ship mind, has been hard to forget. You realize Ankita's leading you back there. Back into the drum at the center of the stack. You pause, trembling a little at the threshold. She turns. What are you doing? She looks at you with empty eyes. What needs to be done? You stand on the threshold and look up at the tanks, green and wet, some glowing with flickering grow lamps. You look down at Ankita, suddenly so small under the hulking ruin. The smallest she has ever looked. She places the box down. You follow Ankita into the stack through a low tank, entering the drum at ground level. It's just as beautiful as you remember, but it barely touches you. Instead, you check the apertures of the tank for the glint of a weapon or a shadow among the moss. Ankita stops and you look down. The mossy island at the center of the tank is clear now. The equipment cleared away. In its place is a mound of dirt, loosely covered with moss. Ashton's rifle stands straight, half buried in the dirt at the grave's head. I buried them together, Ankita says without turning. You both stand there in silence for a little while. You think of questions you could ask about Ashton, about the sleeper. How long did you know him? She takes a moment to respond, and for a moment you think she won't, but then the words come gushing out. He signed on a while ago. He used to run recon for a corporate outfit, but he got sick of the pay. He joined the crew as a sniper. First few jobs were a breeze. He was so cold and disconnected, and he always hit his marks. Last few jobs, though, he was different. I noticed that. We'd had a period of extended shore leave on the Eye, and when he came back, he was changed. I assumed he'd just had too much time off. He was right. I never would have given him the ship mind. I never would have believed him. I've had crew members double-cross me, undercut me, rat me out. That's the business. He wasn't a good person. None of us in this job are. This is how we die. Alone. She stops, not sure what to add. It seems like she's reaching for something, but she can't quite get there. You feel that gap between you, and as you do, it widens. The water drips. The moss trembles. You both stand in silence for a while longer. You both feel it, life creeping back in, and the silence ending. Nikita shifts her weight. Then she starts to walk out. You follow her, suddenly eager to be back out in the open space of the Greenway, and to be away from this place forever. You stand outside and breathe the fresh air. You stare at the green leaves and stars wheeling above them. That's it, says Ankita from somewhere behind you. You try to think of something to say, but can't. Ankita puts a hand on your shoulder. You turn back to her. At least take this. She forces a handful of cryochits into your hands. It's what I owe you. She looks at you desperately. You look down at the metal bars. Ugly little things, you think. Take the chits. You take the chits and turn without saying a word. Continue up the track. She does not follow. As you walk up the rise, the wind picks up and the leaves shudder. You walk faster, trying to outpace your anger. The chits are heavy in your pocket, and you hate them for reminding you of how little life is worth. Yep. And yet they are deeply important to our own continued existence. Ain't that a bitch? Oops. Unfortunately, because it is two... I know exactly why it is. Because it is 2 I words and 3 E words, my brain will never remember which ones are useful and which ones are not. Like, it's about as useful, like, just looking at the icons and the first letters are about as useful as if somebody tried to make a stat system based off the old AO. And I don't mean AYO, I mean the old text-to-speech joke. AEIUO, I think it was? I don't fucking remember. It might be AEIOU. But... I actually wouldn't mind having the +2, but I don't think it really is that important. Nice. Oh hey, we can sleep here. Interessante. Rico, botanist. Head of the Hiffa Botany. You know, it strikes me that's probably also a word that's probably specifically like a Greek or a Latin word and probably has a very specific meaning. Shame. You head down in the Hiffa compound, following a blue painted lane that is labeled... line that is labeled laboratories. The member you were assigned to work with told you they'd asked to see you. You still have no idea what about. The line takes you to a blue door and through to a glass-roofed chamber where a network of stems and leaves filter the sunlight coming through the ceiling, casting the whole chamber in a strange yellow-green. Peaceful, isn't it? Distracted by the green, you miss the woman standing at the lab bench, camouflaged by the dappled light. Welcome, my sanctuary. Come, let's talk, she says and beckons you closer. Who are you? Oh, of course, my apologies. She offers a handshake. I'm Rico. I run the botany program at HEFA. What's HEFA? She looks surprised. You've been working in the compound for a while. I'm surprised you don't know more. She lifts a tiny sample jar. Yellow spores dance inside. HEFA lifts off the land of the Greenway. It's what allows us to live like we do. No one here pays or is paid. We sleep here. We feed each other. We work for each other. Rico walks away from the bench and waves you to follow. She opens a small door and leads you down a glass corridor surrounded by vivid green. All this, she says, gesturing at the overgrowth, kind of a miracle. She looks at you with bright eyes. What do you think usually happens to plants on stations like this when they're abandoned? They dry up. Exactly. They run out of water, very rapidly, in fact. She leads you to her left at a crossroads. But here, they endured. She smiles to herself. Actually, no, they thrived. Look at the bright tendrils wrapped around the metal frames of the corridor. They look dominant, strong, like they're taking control of the place. Rico continues. Of course, Solheim tried to create a stable biosphere here, patchworking the surface with gardens and algae tanks that feed into a network of microbial reclamation systems. But the Greenway was always envisioned as extractive, a place from which the harvest is removed and sold to those living on the station, not a closed loop. For this reason, when the collapse came, the Greenway should have gone with it. Erlem himself was so convinced of it that his first colony never even came here to try to reclaim it. The Eye instead relied on outside favors and influences, shipments from the inner systems, and small-scale agricultural systems like kelp and fungal farm stacks. And yet here we are. Among growth and decay, a biosphere is flourishing. When HEFA came here, we expected to find only vacuum-dried stalks and leaves, perhaps some fungal colonies hidden in the mulch. But we found a jungle. With this, Rico hits a button on the wall and leads you through a large pair of double doors into a huge, impossible chamber. It's every kind of green, from the pale algae tanks to the dark vines that surround them. It's wet, too, a rarity on the Eye. Condensation clouds the lights from the high glass roof and gathers in the shiny broad leaves of shrubs. How? That is exactly our question. Rico turns to you, visibly excited by the room you're both standing in. It doesn't make sense, but in many ways the system is stabilized. Unlike the farm stacks closer to the gap who need input to support their meager output, this place runs itself. Perhaps Solheim's managed something new here. Perhaps they tweaked the plants. Perhaps built new systems buried deep below us. Or perhaps their collapse caused some fortunate cascade and unlikely chemical reaction within the biosphere. That's what I'd like you to help me find out. She turns to you, her forehead wet with dew. Me? Yes. You. Rico sits on a railing. These halls run deep, sleeper, and I'm getting old. She stamps her foot on the metal grating of the walkway. Whatever is causing this, it's to be found in the groves deep in the Greenway. HEFA won't spare anyone for an expedition. It's too dangerous and unnecessary, they say. I can make the case, but I can't get the votes. You sleepers are hardy beings. I know that much, and you can speak to the Eye, uncover its secrets in ways I never can. She holds out an arm so you can help her stand. Bring me samples, spores, seeds, and blooms. I can help them grow in the lab and study them. The deeper they're found, the better. I'll try. Thank you. And thank you for listening. Rico leads you back out of the huge chamber and up through the passages. She's a little slower now and stumbles on the steps. You help her where you can. It's good to have new blood in the commune, she says. Many of us have been here a long time, and few come through. She settles back at her bench in the lab, stretching her legs. You gotta leave. Come back if you find something, sleeper. There are discoveries to be made. You follow the blue line back up, out of the compound, all the time thinking of that impossible, magical green. Still have no idea where the fuck to get spores. I guess it's gonna be here. Well. Let's sleep here. Hey, a quiet voice greets you as you leave. Sleeper. It's me. Ooh. Moritz, I work for Bliss. He rubs the back of his head. You are not an easy person to find. Well, I don't really have an address. Moritz holds up his hands. Hey, no judgment. It's cool. We both stand there for a moment, each waiting for the other to speak. What's up? Ah, yeah, well, Bliss needs you. A job just came in. Real big one. She's asking for you to come in and help her up. He nods sagely. Okay, I'll be right there. Nice, yeah. Moritz stands there for a little while, unsure if the message is delivered. I got it. Cool. He looks around. Bliss just likes me to do a thorough job, you know. He rubs his hands together before burying them in his jacket pockets. See you, Sleeper. Moritz ambles off down the corridor, kicking at a filter cap on his way out. Well, time to head to Bliss's Bay then. Oh yeah, we have actual points. I feel like out of all of the, well, shit. I think her stuff is going to be engineering. Let's see though. Okay. Well, the good stuff is engineering. And we can drastically improve our chances here with that. Ah. I misread that. Well, I guess I should say I didn't read that it was a critical action. Then again, if I had read that it was a critical action, I wouldn't have known what the fuck that meant. You know, fuck it. Worst case scenario? I need to buy food. But I've been curious about what this food does anyway. Okay, so it's just categorically inferior. That's fine. Oh, it's just infinitely repeatable. Good to know. I mean, as long as it has food. God, we have like a million actions we can take. Yeah, we have some that are very time limited, but... As you both wait in the airlock for it to cycle back to the bay, Bliss thumps you on the arm. Nicely done, Sleeper. We cleared that contract no problem. Once we're back in the bay, we can check if the payment has come through and divide it up. She stretches. Feels good. The airlock clunks and lights flicker. A moment later, you're back in the bay. Moritz is at the rack, trying to figure out where the mess of tools Bliss left in her wake should be hung. Hey, Moritz. Moritz looks over his shoulder. Sleeper! He spins a wrench in his hands. Looked like clean work there out there. He nods respectfully. Look over at Bliss, who's already gliding over to her management console. She twirls a little as she crosses the cavernous bay. No one you've ever met moves as well in zero-G as she does. It's like she was born into it. Shit. Bliss slams a fist on the console. Shit, shit, shit. I can't even... Bliss closes her eyes. Come here. Bliss calls you over. Look at this. Just look. She spins the terminal screen and you see the details for the bay's account. You see an entry for the Ember's Wake, a repair fee paid in full the moment you finished up the job, but then directly after, the whole amount was transferred back out into an unknown account. How can this happen? I can tell you how. My ex is a sneaky little shit. She punches the terminal. She must have coded a back door into the machine before we left. There's no way we can... Moritz, throw me the wrench. What's that for? Bliss smiles. This. Bliss brings the wrench down on the terminal. Hard. You flinch backwards as a hail of computer parts spill up into the bay in a glittering arc. Fragments of screen, memory, sections of the casing. Bliss is done. She clips the wrench to her tool belt. Try backdooring your way into that, you shit. Moritz drifts out from his hiding place among the racks. Bliss, you want me to... Licks the arcs of fragments drifting around the bay nervously. Bliss shakes her head. No, I've got it. You go get me a new terminal, cheapest you can find. Cobble one together from pieces of the Ord Exchange if you have to. Can I help? Bliss glides over to a panel by the wall. Don't worry. One of the first things I had installed when we spec'd out this place was a cleaning sweep. She flicks over a plastic cover on a huge red button. Watch yourself. She hammers the button and a row of laser emitters unfold from the bay wall. They start crawling their way across the work area, frying the debris as they do in pulses of burning light. It's that or just space the whole bay every few cycles. You okay? Not really. She stares at the sweep panel. Just don't seem to be able to extricate myself from this shit, no matter how hard I try. Clean sweep buzzes and crackles as it works its way across the bay. But account wasn't everything. I'm not that stupid. Once Moritz gets back, I'll secure it and flush everything else. She flicks a nearby piece of debris into the path of the sweep. Clean break. Then we take another contract. That's it. She shuts off the sweep as it reaches the near end of the bay. Amen. Better be, Bliss laughs, because there's no way you're getting your investment back unless you are. She rubs her forehead. I'm sorry, Sleeper. I know you worked for this too. The next time won't be the same. That's okay. She smiles. See you in a few cycles. Moritz will let you know. She winks and kicks off into the bay to finish cleaning up. Well, that sucked ass. I guess in a lot of ways I can't really be surprised, but... Huh. Interesting. This has been literally the only place we have found the fucking caps, though. Weird that. Well, let's... One for old time's sake. And cycle. And I think that'll be it for me.